All right, the Locked On Podcast Network will soon be releasing their top 100 NHL players. How many Avalanche can make that list? Let's talk about it on a new episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. Joining me today, Mr. Zach Pearson. He's been joining us on Wednesdays this month. So Zach is here once again. We'll be talking to him all episode. And if you want to get in on the conversation with me, you can join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with me one-on-one. Get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and share it on this very podcast. All right, Zach. So on today's episode, we will be getting to the athletic ranking all of the NHL teams pipeline, all of their prospects. It's not good. Not good for the Colorado
Avs.
Not for the Avs. So we'll talk about that. And Tyson Barrie, former Avalanche, decided to hang them up. He's 10 years younger than me. And he's 2 months younger than you?
Yeah, I just noticed today. I've got him by 2 months and 2 days, and I've officially hit the age where professional athletes are retiring younger than me. So that is a fun age to be finally reaching.
What are you doing with your life that you're not retired yet? Come on now. Jeez.
No, I gotta step it up.
So we'll talk about him, kind of reflect on his time with the Avalanche, just his career. But like I said in the opening, where we're going to start the Locked On Podcast Network. Right now, we are gathering the info on. We're going to be releasing. They did it for the NFL. I don't know if they've done it for other sports yet. I'm guessing not, because the NHL is kind of the next one up, for their season to start. I know they'll be doing it for the NBA, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they did the top 100 players, and voting is going on right now amongst the hosts, and that will be released probably within the next couple weeks. So wanted to figure out how many Avs could make this list, the top 100 total NHL players, best NHL players. You know who's going to be at the top. You know Nathan MacKinnon's going to be on it. You know Cale Makar's going to be on it. I always like to see where they are. It's always fun to see because they're going to make that. Can MacKinnon crack number one? I doubt it. Can Cale Makar be number 3 maybe, or number 2, whatever? But we'll see where those guys go. But there could be a handful of guys on this list. So where should we start here? I mean, do we just want to go down maybe like how we ranked? Maybe did the ranking for the Avalanche. I did it a couple weeks ago, and the top 5 guys on the Avalanche. I know I had Devon Toews at number 3.
Yeah.
He's going to be making this list pretty easily, I would think.
There's no way Devon Toews doesn't crack the top 100 players in the NHL. I know he gets overshadowed playing on the pairing with Cale Makar, because Cale Makar is an absolutely insane generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't take away from how absolutely fantastic Devon Toews has been for every season he's played with Colorado, right? I mean, the guy's amazing. Right. So if he's not in the top 100, something has went horribly wrong.
Right. No, totally agreed. I think he's pretty much a shoo-in for the top 100. And again, I'd like to see where he finishes, because you would like to see, like, what are other people thinking? For Avalanche fans, like, we'll probably have him a lot higher than other fans and even hosts of other shows. Yeah. But where is the happy medium and where he lands? I'm looking forward to that. Valeri Nichushkin was another guy I had in the top 5. This could be an interesting one, Zach, because I feel like no injuries, playing full seasons. Nichushkin is a top 100 player, but I would understand if people are not voting for him to be in that top 100 for those reasons. But are they going the route of he's got the talent, we know he can be, and yeah, we'll put him in the list, but I don't know if that is going to be good enough for the majority of the hosts.
I don't think it will be, and my personal opinion, and this is not like I love Val Nichushkin. Like I got to be there for that hat trick in the playoffs. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, love watching that guy play. Talent is off the charts. You see the difference in the Avs when he's on the ice. They are all the way up here, and then as soon as he's off, it's a drop right back down. Like, they
Yep.
lose a lot of who they are when he's not on the ice. Unfortunately, I have always believed for a long time availability is a skill. And I think that takes away from a lot of, and again, I don't want to besmirch him or anything like that. I know he powered through an injury for the Stanley Cup run. I know he did all of those things. So it's really hard for me to take him off of this list, but then you have those issues of missing the games, especially in the playoffs, and I think that's going to hold him. I think that has the potential to hold him out of the top 100. He probably deserves it, but I think that holds him out.
I agree. Like if he is able to crack the list, maybe it's somewhere in the 90s or something like that. I mean, he's better than that, but it's like, is he more deserving of it right now? And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I don't know. That's why, I hope we do this again next year. If he can have a full solid season, play 75 plus
Yep.
games, put up solid numbers, I think people are a lot more comfortable putting him in, a comfortable spot in the top 100. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a lot easier to put somebody in that ranking when they actually are on the ice to show you exactly how talented they are.
Mhm.
I mean, let's just take who's probably going to be the number one because he almost always is. But if Connor McDavid missed half of a season every season, it doesn't matter how amazingly talented he is. If he's not there, you don't know how amazingly talented he is. And I think
Yeah.
that does. I agree. I could see him maybe sneaking into the 90s, but for Big Val, I think that's just it's gonna hurt him.
It's a good point, like, because you can talk about it all day long about the
Yep.
talent and what he brings, but if the numbers aren't there, if the games aren't there, how do you justify putting him over somebody that is doing those things?
Yeah.
It's a tough proposition. So, Arturi Lehkonen is another one that's on this list. And he's another guy who I feel like, in the Avalanche world, we appreciate him to the nth degree, right? Like we absolutely love him, fan favorite. We know what he brings to this team, top line guy. Um, do you think other people recognize that? And will he get on here?
I don't think I think he'll make the top 100, but I think he sneaks in at a higher number as well. And I think he's going to get overshadowed a lot by being on that line again with Nathan MacKinnon, kind of the same way that
Mhm.
I think Devon Toews suffers in like notoriety just by the simple fact that he plays with Cale Makar. I think Arturi Lehkonen gets a little bit of that from playing with Nathan MacKinnon because Arturi Lehkonen is a fantastic player. He works hard. He always seems to be in a good position almost all the time. He's always doing things I think properly in the right way, but it's really easy to be overshadowed when you've got Nathan MacKinnon, angrily ripping down the ice at 100 miles an hour. So
Mhm.
I I really hope he makes it in based off of other hosts voting or whoever else is putting in votes on there, but I think he'll probably be a little bit higher than he deserves as well. But I do
Right.
think he cracks the top 100. He really should. He's a terrific guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm in agreement with like where he'll rank. I feel like when, I'm just envisioning other hosts like kind of just like marking guys down, however they're doing it, and then they come across Terry Leck and be like, oh yeah, like he is really good.
Yeah.
I got to throw him on here somewhere. They're not going to throw him up in like the top 50 or something like that, but he's one of those guys when you come across his name, you just feel like he's deserving of it,
Yeah.
and we'll see if it happens. We'll see if it happens. There's two guys left that I had on there, and that one is Marty Nashus. He should be a shoo-in if you ask me for a top 100. Love to see where he would land too, and that this is another guy. If we do it next year, and he can have an incredible season in a contract year, maybe could open up some even more eyes. Be like, wow, that was a really good season on a team that fits his style, and he might even go up even more. So I think Nishis is definitely on there.
Yeah, I think he's got a good shot to crack into it as well. He's had a good career so far, I feel like, with Carolina before coming over, and I thought he had a really good end of the regular season with the Avs as well.
Mhm.
The postseason was just a little bit of a rough run for a few people, and he was one of them. So I really do think like you get a full again if he gets 75 plus games alongside Nathan MacKinnon, alongside um like Nichushkin, because he'll probably be playing on that line with Val, I would think, or is he playing on the line with MacKinnon?
Yeah, who knows right now?
Yeah,
And Jared Bednar loves to
right. He could be
the
on any
blender.
of the lines. Yep.
Yep.
Um,
So
but I think once he starts to mesh a little better, because he only had the post trade deadline time and the short playoff stint. I think this offseason, more time to meld with the team. I expect him to do really well, and I agree. I think next year this is one where you're like, okay, Marty Necas is going to be higher on that list for sure.
I'm in agreement, and I'm full on board with a solid Nacious season.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really good season for him. We'll talk about that another time. But the last one I have, Mackenzie Blackwood. I don't. Maybe it's a little bit too early. We keep talking about doing this next year, and I think he's the one guy who could really benefit from a solid season, full season with the Avs. I don't know. Like, what's your take on him? Is it's tough for goalies, right? I mean, outside of Hellebuck and Vasilevsky, it's I just want to see how many total goalies are on here. Um, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to crack this list.
He has, I think, an outside shot at cracking the
Mhm.
top 100, but he'd be top or like, sorry, bottom 15, bottom 10, maybe like in the 85 to 90s range. I think he deserves it not just though for last season with the Avalanche. I think he deserves it for because I've actually I do a dynasty fantasy hockey league and he was a goaltender I picked up just he was an available guy, ended up grabbing him and he's been on my team. So I've followed him a little bit more than
Okay.
probably some other goaltenders. He's always had he's always been really solid, really good goaltending. And then he was on a not so excellent New Jersey Devils team, and then he was on a very not excellent San Jose Sharks team.
Mhm.
And it's really hard to be like, yeah, I'm a top end goaltender when you're playing on a deep in the depths of a rebuild San
Terrible.
Jose.
Terrible. You can
And
say. You
so,
can say.
yeah, exactly. And like, they're looking better now. They've got some new prospects, but now that he's on the Avs, I agree. I think plus you can play a little more loose, right? When you're playing on a team that's performing that poorly, I feel like in net, you're going to be I have to stop everything. I'm the only thing that can possibly keep us in this game because nothing's happening up in front of me. Whereas with the Avs, it's like, okay, I don't have to be as tense. You're not gripping the stick. You're
Right.
not doing those things because you got some guys that can bail you out
Right.
if you do make a mistake here or there.
Right.
And so I can't wait to see what he looks like after this season. I think that's going to be I'm very excited to watch that.
Yeah. So that would be 5. I mean, you got MacKinnon, Makar, Nacious, Taves, and Lehkonen. We think are definites.
Yeah.
And maybe Nichushkin and maybe Blackwood.
So up to 7.
Up to 7. I mean, even if you get 5, that's the other thing I'm going to be looking for on this is who has the most.
Yeah.
Who has the most per team? 5 is a good amount in the top 100. Maybe 6, maybe 7. So we'll have to see. We'll have
And
to see.
I'll tell you, as we're getting up to the pipeline rank, having 7 top 100 now helps me feel better about that pipipeline that we'll
Yes.
talk about later.
Great way to hang people on and for segment number 3. But so we'll get to that. Where we're gonna go now is Tyson Barrie. If we did this 10 years ago, Tyson Barrie might be in the top 100. Yeah. So he hangs them up, and we're going to talk about him and his career and everything that comes with Tyson Barrie right after our first break. Let's hear from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, and whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface, on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, and if you've put off organizing your finances, let's be honest, who hasn't done that? Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting, and you can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categories of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at monarchmoney.com, and use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL today. One other thing we want to get to right now, an important request from all of our listeners. Locked On wants to hear from you, and we've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like and what you don't like and answer questions about our advertising. So go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered in a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. So again, that is lockedonpodcasts.com/survey. The link is also in the show notes below. So go check that out. Take the survey. There's even a QR code there on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Maybe win a $100 gift certificate to Amazon and help us out in that aspect. So, all right. Mr. Tyson Barrie calls it a career. It's crazy that he played 14 seasons and is 34 years old and can just sit back and dip his toes in the ocean, in the sand, do whatever he wants to do. But it's pretty funny how he did that. The Avalanche and Denver University.
Yeah, the alumni game.
The alumni game. And the next morning we get the news. And if you watched that game and you watched the intermission interviews, it seemed like he was tying one on there during that game. I think he dropped an F-bomb like live on television.
On live TV, yeah.
So you're like, did he wake up and he just was not in the mood, or just like, I'm done, I'm retiring? Like, I don't know. I'm sure this was, joking around a little bit, but it was kind of weird to see him playing in this game. And then literally the next morning, you get news that Tyson Barrie is 34 years old. He's calling it a career.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he only played, I think, 13 games last year for Calgary, so it wasn't a ton. Yeah. 14 years is a pretty solid stint in the NHL. This isn't exactly a sport that, is easy on your joints or any other part of your body. And I remember, too, like, watching that Minnesota Wild series, was that 13 with Patrick Waugh, where Matt Cook took his knee out?
Oh, yeah, I think it was 13 or 14, yeah.
Yeah, yep. And it's like, I mean, honestly, that looked so bad at the time. I was thrilled when he came back at the beginning of next season, and was able to play for us still again. Like, I thought that was just fantastic that he could do that. So you put yourself through the ringer playing in the NHL, so nothing to sneeze at playing 14 seasons. Really awesome to see him, the majority of it with Colorado. I've enjoyed watching him play. It is a shame that he was one of those guys that really did kind of stick with the team without complaining, without saying anything through all of the dregs of the brutal seasons, all of the, rebuilds, all of, like, kind of that transition era, and then moved on to Toronto after that. But
that's weird because he was, going to be part of like the new Avalanche, right? Mm-hmm. And was kind of drafted in the third or fourth round, I think it was.
Sounds right.
See.
Yeah. Third round,
third round. Overall. Yeah. So, and again, go to the pipeline that we're going to be talking about in a minute. Like anything out of the first round, anything really out of the first half of the first round, any these days is a crapshoot. It seems like you don't really know what you're getting. So, the third rounders, to get him then and be part of, like I said, like this new generation of Avalanche players. And he was that. He lived up to that. Like he offense on his mind, not horrible defensively. He had moments where he would slip. I'll show you some graphs in a second if you're watching on YouTube. But just Well, so his first year was 2011, 2012. And on a personal note, that's also the first year that my wife and I started dating. So when she got thrown into this hockey universe that I'm a part of, that was her favorite player,
Nice,
Tyson
yeah.
Barrie. She loved him. So she was a little bit upset when they did trade for him, or traded him out for Nazem Kadri. But he was kind of, this offensive style of defenseman is relatively new in the NHL. And I'm not saying he started it or anything like that, but that's how far back this goes for the Avs.
Yeah.
Is that's kind of how they want it. Even before Jared Bednar clearly obviously got there, their mindset was, let's get, guys, they got to be able to play defense. That's a position, that's your title. But let's, get the guys that are offensive minded as well. And that was him. He was really good on the power play. He had a really good shot. He had a really good outlet pass. Like he did all of the things that you need a defenseman to do. And then, they needed to make themselves better. And the fact that what they traded him for to get Nazem Kadri that ended in a Stanley Cup, I think makes it all better. And I don't understand. I feel like there's some not hatred towards Tyson Barrie, but I feel like people don't give him enough credit for how he played on the Avs. There's just when people talk about him, they're just like, whatever. He was nothing for us. That's not true. He was a very good player for you.
I think he paved the way. I really think that the trade for Kadri obviously worked out really well for the Avalanche, because without Kadri, you're probably not in the same kind of position to win the cup that you are. I also think that the drafting of Cale Makar kind of made Tyson Barrie superfluous, and so he becomes expendable at that point. And so I do agree, though. I feel like people were not, which is crazy too, because I remember a handful of people being like, "Why would you trade for Nazem Kadri? He's nothing but a liability. You're giving away such a great guy in Tyson Barrie for this guy who could cost you everything in the playoffs." And then, we know how that ended up turning out, so boo on them. But yeah, it's like, it is really crazy how people were just sort of down on him. And I think he sort of, like you said, didn't start it, but was kind of a big paver for a player like Cale Makar to do everything that he does now.
Yeah. And if you're looking on YouTube, I got his JFresh card up there. And that's not a bad player right there. You see things kind of fading out towards the end. And I think that's just why he decided, I'm going to hang him. The numbers just are not what they used to be. Maybe he's just taking a toll on his body, but you can see right around 17, 18, just that drop in WAR, and even on your offense, which was part of his game, it dropped in 17, 18. Defensively, it's odd that you're a defenseman. That red line over there is really towards the bottom. That's not really where you want it to be when your title is a defenseman. You'd rather that up a little bit. You look at this and you're like, wow, that's a forward. No, not really. He's a defenseman. But, all these numbers are not terrible. Not terrible for a guy who gave you some really good years. I'm going to, again, if you're watching over on YouTube, I have his NHL Edge chart up here, and this is interesting. This kind of hammers home just how things have dropped off for him. And all I'm going to show you is just that target that's right there. Okay, so the one that you're seeing right now is in 21, 22. And if you're listening, you don't see it. You have that target and all these different bullet points on it. It's pretty good. All his percentiles are above 50, some well above 50.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Let's change to 22, 23. So just take a second to load. And that's pretty good too. That's when he was on Nashville. Again, all percentiles, shots on goal, 93 percentile, shooting percentage, 92nd percentile.
92nd percent for shooting percentage.
What's that?
I said 92nd percentile for shooting percentage is crazy.
It is great. Now, the next year, 23, 24, and there you go.
Oof.
That's when it went south.
Yeah. For
whatever reason. And it just, there's, that target, which was wide, is now just all the moisture is out of that web. and we can just go to the 24-25 one, and it's pretty similar. That looks like a sci-fi space station right there or something, whatever that is. So that's that. I think, having 2 years of that, it's kind of like the writing's on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to get any better. You're not going to get back to those years. And if it wasn't such an implosion, maybe he hangs around. But it's like, you look at stuff like that. You look at the JFresh card. You look at his edge stats. It was just falling off of a cliff. And I think it was just like, I had 14 good years. I don't think I can get back to what the numbers used to be like. I got money in the bank. We're good.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it's just time. And again, I can't be anything but appreciative for all the time he gave to the Avs. I think he had a really good career. Like there's nothing to be upset about with everything that he did. But yeah, you're right. The last 2 years were just dropped drastically.
So. But enjoy the retirement at 34 years old. I hate you. But it was, fun while it lasted. So I had some people saying like, oh, maybe they should retire his number. I don't think he's that. We don't think it was that important. I don't think that's going to happen.
He maybe could have been. Again, I think had the Avs not fallen to the 4th pick and taken Cale Makar, I think he probably would have been a much larger part of the team. Yeah. But, I think we're all pretty happy with how that ended up turning out. So, yeah. Exactly. He's probably not making it to the rafters, but he, if there was a ring of fame like the Broncos have, he'd be in that.
There you go. I'd be happy with that. So,
yeah.
All right. Last break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Avs pipeline, talking about all these great players in top 100. Any of these guys have a future in that list? I don't know. Let's talk about that next. Let's hear from FanDuel. The NFL season, it's almost here, Zach. And FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer, because right now, new customers can bet $5. And if your bet wins, it's pretty crazy, Zach. Like sometimes it's $150, sometimes it's $200. Right now, if that $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you are ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. Once again, that is FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet on the Broncos. Why not?
Yeah, take them to win the Super Bowl.
That's win, yeah. And you'll get $300 in bonus bets over at FanDuel. Check them out today. All right, last bit of business, and that is over on The Athletic. They are ranking the prospect pools and pipelines for all the NHL teams. This is no secret. Like the Avalanche are a little bit lacking in depth for their prospects. Like they have some good ones, but we're talking about Tyson Barrie, the production falling off a cliff. You can kind of transfer that over into like the Avs prospects. Like they have some good ones at the top, and then it's just like a whole lot of we don't know. They are ranked 32. And if you didn't know, there are 32 teams in the NHL. So they are dead last in the Athletic rankings. Last year, they were 31. They only had one spot to drop. They somehow did it. So I guess congratulations there. But it's rough, man. Like, they have, and the funny part is their ranking for number 1 is Gavin Brindley, someone who they just acquired in a trade. So, he's their number 1. Mikhail Gulyayev is their second best. And then that's all they do for ranking as far as the Avs go. They throw in some like honorable mentions with Sean Behrens, Max Curran, and Ilya Nabokov, which I don't really agree with. I think a lot of people have Nabokov almost maybe as their number 1 prospect. Some people might even say.
That's where I'd have Nabokov for sure. I like watching some of the stuff that he's done in the KHL over there. I think he's played phenomenal. I think he shows a ton of promise. I think the biggest thing against him is they're saying he's not maybe big enough.
I've heard, that's what I'm hearing a lot of is like his size. But for what he lacks in size, he makes up in technique and speed.
Yeah.
But size is size. And, if you're a goalie, you like those Vasilevsky guys even Mackenzie Blackwood guys.
Yeah.
He's not that as far as size, and he's not going to be that. You can't, unless you go Barry Bonds, but,
Yeah.
But, you know, it seems like that's not a problem for him. He outplays that.
Just get him in that machine that Gonzo gets in Muppets Treasure Island. Stretch him out a little
Oh my
bit. He'll be good. No, I
Yeah.
think he would be my top of the prospect pool, I think, for sure, for the Avs right now, because watching him again, seeing the clips of him playing in the KHL, seeing what he's been doing, I really just get a good impression of his game. It makes me feel like he can translate it to NHL. I think he can come over and play really well. And maybe that's a little bit of hopefulness just from the fact that the Avs prospect pool is as light as it is, and I'm just,
Mhm.
trying to delude myself a little bit, but I think he would be my number one for sure. And
Yeah.
I like Galvin Brindley. I think that was a good
Yeah.
acquisition. It's kind of crazy to me that he automatically becomes the Avs number one
Right.
prospect in the eyes of the Athletic, but you know,
Well, the thing for, the top guys for the Avs prospects, like they could pan out to be something, right? But the knock on almost all of them is size.
yeah,
So that is the case with Nabokov. That is the case with Brindley. Brindley
yeah,
is I think he's like 165 pounds right now. He doesn't play that way. He's got an edge to his game where, he's not going to get knocked around. But sometimes there's, Brent Burns out there that don't care, and you will get knocked around. And the same thing with Gulyayev. Gulyayev is looking phenomenal over in Russia, and but he's a small guy and he's a defenseman. So this seems to be the Avs MO is getting like they don't seem to care, and their top three guys in any order, because over on the Hockey News they have Gulyayev as their number one, and they have
which,
Nabokov as number two, and they have Brindley at number three.
and I'd take that
So
order.
yeah, I think you can like that, but that's the interesting part of all this is, the top guys in the Avs, while you're 32nd in the league, you would want clear cut number one, clear cut number two, clear cut
Yeah,
number three. And you can mix and match these guys depending on what outlet you're looking at and depending on who you're talking to.
yeah,
So while they're good, people are looking at them differently on who the best prospect is for the Avalanche. So I don't like that. I don't like not having a clear, for me, it's funny. So the Athletic has Brindley, you have Nabokov, I have Gulyayev. He
yeah,
would be my number one. That's the problem,
yep,
is we're all in agreement on who's there, but we just interchange who's 1, 2, and 3. The interesting thing with the Hockey News is number 4, if they have Francisco Del Elche, the guy
okay.
who they just drafted in this year in the 4th round.
Yeah,
That's not good either.
no,
Your
that's
4th round guy in this year's draft should not be your 4th best guy, according to the Hockey News. He's a bigger guy. He's a bigger defenseman, and he's a little bit older too. So, but they have guys like you have to hit these out of the park if these guys see NHL ice. Gulyayev could, Nabokov could, Brindley could. Who knows with Del Elche? Ivan's number 5 for them. He played some games last year, looked okay. Prishapov is on here. He's number 6. He's a 7th round guy. He looked okay. Zakhar Bardakov, he could play games this year. We don't know. Taylor McCarr's on there, Matt Steinberg, and Sean Barnes. So it's a lot of
maybe.
I'm crossing my fingers if you're watching on new. Yes, a lot of we don't know.
Well, and I feel like a lot of those names too, if they crack NHL, you're hoping for like bottom pairing, bottom 6 type
Right.
of roles. You're not like
You don't have
none of
anybody
these
stepping
guys are
into
the
a
type of
top.
person that you're
Yep.
looking at someone like, oh, I can't wait for him to come in and immediately and again to go back to when we drafted Cale Makar. It was like that
Yep.
whole college season after we drafted him, everybody's watching him play and going, can't wait for him to make it to the Avs.
Right.
Can't wait for him to make it to the Avs. There's like Nabokov's the only one for me that I'm like, can't wait for him to make it to the Avs, and with Wedgwood and Blackwood, I can wait. So it does make it a little rough to look at our prospect pool and think about what's coming, because
and the other side of this, maybe to have some silver lining here, is like, a lot of teams are in the position that the Avalanche are. Like the good teams are at the bottom of this list. That's just how it works in the NHL, because you're trading guys out to make your team better for the here and the now, because you're in the mode of winning a cup. So while the Avalanche are 32, I'll just do this quickly. Edmonton is 31. Vegas is 30. Florida Panthers are 29. Tampa Bay is 28. So that's how this works. Like the bad teams are number 1 through 10. The bad teams are 20 through 32. So I'm okay with it. I just want to have my cake and eat it too. Or we're going for Stanley Cups and we have the best prospect pool. Just doesn't work out that way. That's not how it's going to work.
No, it doesn't. It's we can promise you win a cup this year, but you're not going to win anything for 10 more years. Do you take that deal? And that's kind of what it feels like the Avs have built themselves sort of into. And obviously you can't guarantee the cup, but you can tell the front office has been going all in, and I can't fault them for it because I think with the current roster, that's the right move.
Yeah. I mean, it feels good to have the cup in your belt 3 years ago, but the luster wears off after a little while. So you need to get back there again. Yes. Sorry, guys, but you do. All right. So that is going to wrap it up for today. So, Zach, thanks once again for joining in on a Wednesday. Why don't you throw out where people can follow along with you and your little to-do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. You can find me on all the social medias at Mile High Bourbon. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it at the bottom of my part of the screen there. Search me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. You can find me on any of those. And I'll be talking about Colorado stuff. I'll be talking about whiskey. I'll be talking about hockey. I'll be talking about football. Anything that happens in the state, I'm probably going to talk about it.
Awesome. Perfect, man. All right. So thanks again for everybody for tuning in. Once again, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. For Mr. Zach Pearson, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys on Friday. And Zach, you made it. Another 24 hours. We're that much closer. Sidney Crosby being with the Colorado Avalanche.
That's the prospect right there.